Hello, so today I will be showing you how to fold the Origami F-4 Phantom 2. So this plane has the air intakes, shaping for the cockpit, folded wings and everything. It even has retractable landing gear, which is quite nice, and you can tow in for flight. You can also fit a small missile in this hatch, but you don't have to. It's entirely optional. I like using Jason Merrill's sticky note missile. I think it fits nice. But if you can, I suggest trying to make a smaller scale version of the ground-to-air Hunter missile, although it's quite a bit harder. So if you're relatively advanced level, then I think it would be worth a shot. Now, this is using 25 by 25 centimeter paper, so you can fit in your palm about. You can use bigger paper if you want, and you can use smaller, but don't use too small because then the folds will be quite a bit tricky, especially when it comes to modeling. I would say this is right about intermediate level, but you do need to know how to do open sinks, closed sinks, swivel folds, pleat folds, collapse folds, all those ones. Even restructuring, actually, you will be doing a little bit of that, so you need to know what you're doing. So first, you're going to want to start folding along the diagonal. Like so. And then you're going to want to fold it in half. Like so. Make sure it's as precise as possible, because the more precise the first few steps are, the better the end result will be. Should look like this. Triangle with the flap opening on one side. Now you want to take the flap that's on the side and open it, and then fold it down so that the corner is on top of the corner underneath. Make sure that this isn't on the side when you flatten it, because that will be quite a big problem later on. Make sure it's as precise as possible, and if you feel that you need to, then don't bother refolding it or redoing the step on the same paper, because honestly, if you don't do it precise enough, then things are not going to go well. Then you flip it over and do the same thing on this side. So you open the flap, and then you fold it downwards on top. Precision is key. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then you should have this square. If you want, you can open the flaps and then fold it over again. This strengthens the creases and makes them more apparent, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. Now, you're going to want to grab the side that doesn't open up if you do like this, because and on the bottom one, the side that opens up, because it's going to be useful in the future steps. And grab the edge here to fold it on top of the center crease, so that it does a bisector angle fold. Make sure that it goes right to the edge, the end. Like so. And then same thing on the other side. If you want, you can unfold this. It makes it a little bit easier. And then you have to fold it back to crease it. And you can unfold and take the flap on the bottom, only the first one, and fold it so that the corner is on top of the center crease, and that it goes from this point, so the intersection between this crease and the edge, and same thing on the other side, like so. So that when you fold it, it does a triangle like that, and that when you fold it on top, it's nice and on the edges here and on top there. Then you can fold these inward and then fold them outwards. Now you're going to want to take the edge here and fold it on this edge, like so. Make sure that it's really until that edge or that end, otherwise things are going to complicate themselves a little bit, like so. So then it does this kind of letter shape almost. Same thing on the other side. like that, it's symmetrical. Then you want to take the edge that's on top and fold it along this edge so that it's folded by sector angle, like we've done so many times before. Flatten it down, make sure it's nice and precise. Same thing on the other side. Then you're going to want to unfold the sides here and the bottom here. Now, the 4 flaps, you're going to want to take the flaps that we were just working on and open them up so that when you fold them down, this crease ends up in between these 2 edges. So it's on top, like so. Make sure that on the edge here, it's all flat and goes right until the end, and it's not, you know, all scrunched up. And then you can fold it over like this. Now you open this side up and do the same thing that we did before. Flatten it down, and then fold the flap over, like so. Then you want to flip the model over and do the same thing that we did just before. So you open the flaps. This side will be a little bit harder because you don't have the creases. So you fold it right on top. You can use the reference of the other side here to make sure that it's nice and symmetrical. And you fold the flap over. Same thing on this side. So you open the flap and make sure that it's nice on top of the intersection between these 2 edges. This one's a bit easier because I have references on both sides. Then you close it. Now you can flip the model over because this side is going to be way more interesting since of all the pre-creasing we've been doing. So you're going to want to open up the flap on this side and then pull the paper upwards so that it goes on the creases that we made in the previous steps. Then you can fold the flap again, so it does this kind of, if you continued the line here, it would do kind of almost a triangle shape like this. Same thing on this side. Make sure they do it right on the creases because that will affect how symmetrical your wings are, like so. Then you want to fold the bottom flap upwards, like so. So then you get this kind of diamond shape almost. I don't know what you define as a diamond shape. So you take the bottom flap here, only the first one, and then you fold it so that this edge ends up on this crease. So it does a bisector angle along this edge here. Like so. Same thing on this side. So you take the flap and then fold it on the crease so it does a bisector angle fold on here. Like so, so then it almost has little wings and an arrow if you draw it like this. So then you unfold it and then fold this side so that the edge here that we're just folding ends up on top of this edge or on top of the crease that we just made, same spot. Make sure that it doesn't go too much underneath in here because that will really complicate things. And you want to try and avoid doing that. So fold it on top so it does a bisector angle fold. Same thing on this side. So make sure it's nice and on top, not too far. Like so. Then you unfold. And then this step may be tricky for you. If you're a beginner. So you want to open the flap here and then push the paper so that it goes underneath. And then when you try and flatten it, make sure that it creases this line well, like so. Then you get this kind of triangle sticking out like so. Triangle, and then another triangle. Same thing on this side. So you open the flap a bit and then push the paper. You want to try and make sure this is on the crease here, or making a crease there on the line, like on the other side. Then you want to take this piece of paper flap and then fold it upwards so that it reverses the fold that was here and that it ends up on top of this crease, like so. And then same thing on this side, so fold it upwards so it's symmetrical with these kind of squarish shaped things, almost rectangular if you continue it. Then you want to fold the top flap down so that the shape that we had before is much bigger. Then, because if we want to make the wings all triangular and everything, we're gonna have to pull the paper up here, but we can't do that because this flap is blocking. So we're going to want to fold the paper, or pull the paper first, and then fold it downwards along this line so that it goes all the way down here. Make sure it's nice and flat, and that then when you open it again, it goes along this crease here that's in between this crease and this crease, if you can see it well. Like so. That's kind of square shaped. Same thing on this side. So you pull the paper. Sorry about the lighting. And then you flatten it down. A reference point is that the crease is right, like a continuation of this line here. Like so. So then you're going to want to flip the model over and open the two first flaps a bit like this. So you got the first one, you can push it entirely to the side if you want, and then open that one a little. You're going to want to fold this piece of paper upwards so it reverses, almost reverses the folds that it was on, so that it points upwards like that. Same thing on this side, so you push those two aside, and then you fold this guy upwards. You can open these guys again so it's nice and symmetrical. Then you flip the model over and turn over this paper, fold it upwards like we did just before, so that it goes all the way until the fuselage of the plane. Same thing on this side. Then you have more liberty up to the wing making stages. So you want to fold this flap upwards until the crease that's already there, right here, and that it goes up until this point, and that kind of stops it from going any further, like so. So then it goes downwards and then upwards again. This step may be tricky, but it's not that hard. So you're going to have to pull the paper. So you want to stick your finger in the flap that's right here, the opening, I guess that's right here, and pull the paper down so that it reaches the crease that's right here. I don't know if you can see it right there. You can see it from the side a bit. It's a bit hard though. Maybe you want to flip it over when you do that. And then when you flatten it, make sure that the crease you make, so it was like this. When you flatten it, make sure that you make a crease that is right on top of this edge. Like so. And then you have two layers. You're going to want to repeat on this side. So you fold the paper upwards, so it does this triangular shape, and then up, down, down, up, sorry. Then you stick your finger in the opening. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing very well. Pull the paper downwards until it reaches this crease. Wait, can't even see that at all. This crease. Wait, that wasn't done very well, was it? So pull it downwards until it reaches the crease. Make sure it's done well from this point till that point. And then when you flatten it down, make sure that it's along this edge. Like so. And then it's all symmetrical again. Maybe you want to flatten this bit if it's a little bit crippled. Same here. But if it's not, then you're good to continue. So now we're going to continue shaping the wings. So we want to fold this paper upwards. First, you're going to want to fold this edge along this edge so that it kind of folds it in half, like so. Wait. So then you unfold and then fold it upwards again. Maybe you want to pull this out of the way. That simplifies. You can use the reference that it's all straight up here, and then it's right from that crease to that edge. Then you can flip it over and fold it all the way till the end of the flap. What this does is that when you actually fold it in the inside of the wing, it will have this shape where it's triangular, and then it ends off at about this distance to spare. Before you do that though, you're going to want to, let me get the paper out of the way so you can see. You're going to want to fold this downwards and then crease this paper that just doesn't want to stay flat, so that this crease here, I don't know if you, yeah, you can see it, that crease goes on top of this edge, like so. You can't see it, like so. So it does this kind of triangular shape. Then you're going to want to open this up and then fold it or crease it from here, so that point, the end of the triangle, until this point. Wait, you can't see it, that point. So, like this, if you can see what I mean. It does arrow almost shaped. Then you want to do the same thing on this side. So it goes from this point, wait, you can't see that at all, from this point till this point. So you fold it downwards, like so, and then you want to fold this part downwards as well, so that when you flatten it all together, it does this big arrow shape. If you want, you can even push it even more downwards if you have to, like so. So then make sure it's nice and creased again when you put this down. So you want to open up this flap in the wing and then push the new flap inside. And then, so that then when you fold the wing back down, it kind of has this piece of paper sticking out, and it's the wing is nicely shaped now. So then now you can flatten all the paper again. So it gives this shape. You want to do the same thing on this wing. So you fold it from this edge till this edge. You don't actually have to do it all the way through, only the very end here. Same thing on the well, not same thing on this side. You do it from this crease to this corner, and this time you have to do it all the way, like before. Like I said already, take the reference that it's all flat here. Nothing sticks out over or under. Precision is key. Now, you're going to want to stick that out of the way. Fold this flap. You don't have to do what I just did, just so you can see better. Fold this flap downwards and then crease it, you know, like I showed. So it does a triangle. Then you want to fold it from this point until this point. Crease it. I don't know what you call these folds. Tug folds? I don't know. Don't even know if they have a name. So then you fold it from this point until here. Let's just flatten this. It's kind of becoming annoying. So that when you flatten it, this does a nice triangle shaped thing. If you have to recrease it, don't think that it's not a good idea, because it is. If you haven't folded precisely enough and you have to recrease it, then go ahead. And then you want to open this flap of the wing and push this under, and then fold it back down so that it gives the wing its signature shape. Then you can fold all the flaps back down. And when you flip the model over, you have a nice and smooth wing, like this. nice and symmetrical, normally. Then you're going to want to flip the model over so that it's like this on the side where we were doing all the folding before. And fold this edge along this center crease, like we did so many times before. Same thing on this side. You may want to unfold the other one for more precision. Like so. Then you fold that one back in. Then you unfold both and pull the flap up. Now we're going to do some reverse folding. So you fold these guys back inwards. Flaps that we're just creasing. Like so. And then you flatten it back down so that it gives you this kind of kite shaped thing. Then you can, so then you're going to want to pull the paper over so that this pointy thing ends up on top of this one, very, very symmetrically. Now, the paper will not want to lie flat on this side, so try and tug this part open, and then fold from, and then flatten it so that it goes all the way until this point, until this point. There is no point for the side because it just goes there on its own if you do this one correctly. And then it's flat, so same thing on this side. If your fingers are too big, then you can use tweezers and kind of tug it open, but that's not really necessary. So then you flatten it along the line. This will actually be the flap for making the landing gear later on, but we're not quite at that step yet. So it should look like so. Then turn it over. And now we're going to be working on the fuselage and all that. So you want to fold the model in half along the center crease, downwards, like so. This is actually a very good check to make sure that everything is symmetrical. It may be difficult if your paper is too thick, which is why I suggest using 75 GSM or lower. Above that becomes a little bit nifty, but you can deal with it if you're good enough. Then you're going to want to crease this side downwards so that it stops where this flap goes, like so. Then it kind of slants backwards, so that then you unfold and crease from, so you crease the paper so that this point is on the edge of the paper here, where this crease goes, like so. Then you unfold and do the same thing on the other side. So from here to here. If you want to, you can keep this the flap on the other side upwards, and then you have a reference point for this side. Then you can fold it downwards. And this, I mean, it may be a bit hard because of all the layers, but we're going to be folding the wings back upwards for the shaping, you see. So you're going to want to crease it from here till just a little bit after the wings, so I'd say right about here. You can mark it if you want with a pencil. I'll do it to show you right about till where. This is purely judgment fold, so you can actually practice the step if you're not sure how to do the judgment fold. So then you crease it from this point until this point. Fold it upwards. Make sure it's nice and on the crease, otherwise it's a little bit difficult. There. Like so. The other side, you don't actually need to mark it with a pencil. You just need to make it sure that it's symmetrical with the other wing. Or the other. And here. If you fold it correctly, then this should be completely flat, set aside from all the overlapping flaps. Like so. Then you fold it back downwards so that you get this kind of shape for the plane, I guess. You still have a lot of steps to go for, but I'd say you're doing good. I'd say past half. From here, it's mostly detailing, apart from the rudder. So now you're going to want to fold this flap upwards. You might want to flatten the plane like so. It helps. And then fold so that this edge here ends on top of this edge here. So it does a bisector angle fold, like so. Make sure it's all the way until the edge here. It helps, like so. And then you're going to want to open this flap and reverse fold this one, this fold, so that it goes inwards. So that then when you fold it down and you fold the wings up, it ends right where the wings go up. Now turn the paper 180 degrees, and you can change the direction on which the fuselage was folded. And then do the same thing here. So you fold this up, and then you fold that flap down. You want the bisector angle. Reverse fold this edge so that it goes nice and inwards. And then you make sure it's nice and straight, the fuselage and everything, like so. Now, we're going to start working on the rudders and everything. So, we're going to have to fold the fuselage on one side if we want this to work. But first, you flatten it down a bit, like so. And then you fold from the end of this corner here until the end of this corner here. So from one side to another. If you notice it's not very symmetrical, then you can do it from this fold, the end of this fold, to the end of this fold, if you prefer. So then you fold it downwards, like so, and then you fold it back up. Now you fold the fuselage back, like it was before, with the wings up and everything. And you'll notice that there's this crease. If it's not clear enough, then you can do it again. If you prefer, you can even mark it with a pencil. I'll do that so you can see more clearly. It's a bit shiny where I marked it with a pencil. So then you want to crease it from this point till this point. So right the corner here. Wait, no, check that. Till this crease. I don't know if you can see it, because that's too low. You won't be able to make the tail fins. So until here. You can even crease that upwards if you want, if it simplifies things for you. Or on the other side, since that's the side that will actually help you to see. Then you hold the paper down and fold it from there till there. It may be tricky because this is actually probably one of the folds that has the most layers included in it. So, yeah. So it looks like this. Then you can unfold it and then turn the model 180 degrees, switch the direction that the fuselage is facing, and then reverse the fold that you just made. Reverse folding so many layers at a time is hard, so don't blame yourself if you have to redo this step several times, or if it takes several tries to successfully finish it. Now you unfold it, and then you can hold the fuselage straight, preferably with the side that we were just folding on the back. And then you're going to want to open the fuselage like this, and then fold all the layers inwards. Make sure it's nice and on the line. The paper will go a little bit upwards, or this flap will go a little bit upwards when you do that. It's normal. It's because of all the overlapping layers will require more paper to go over. It's not completely flat. It does have a certain thickness. So then it's like so. Much, much shorter fuselage. So now we're going to work on the tail fin. So you're going to have to crease from this point, the end of the wings approximately, to make sure that it's nice and straight. When you fold it, make sure that the top layer is completely flat and that there's no paper either going over or under, like so. Then you unfold it, and then you can open up the fuselage a bit here. and fold the crease, this part, from approximately the one that's closest to the wing out of all the creases, so this one, till the corner here. Same thing on the other side. So it's actually easier because if you just flatten it, then it should do it. Like so. Then you want to open up the bottom and fold this guy. No, you can't see. So you open it, the flap that was here, you fold it upwards, and then you fold this flap from, not actually until here, just a little bit more, say approximately till a little bit after, so approximately till there, until here, so until the, like, approximately where this flap ends. Now this will not lie straight, and that's perfectly normal because you just created a flap that has no end, and since it has no end, it's going to curve where there is an end. That's not actually the edge of the flap. So we'll do like this. You can do the same thing on the other side. Make sure that the judgment fold is the same on both sides. This may be quite hard to do, so if you want to do so, just fold both flaps upwards, and then when you fold, make sure that it's symmetrical. So, like that. Make sure it's nice and straight here, that it's nice and curved as well, because if it's not, then the next step is going to be completely useless for you. Then you want to fold the model, the inside here, inwards so that it flattens out this point. So it's from approximately this point, let's mark it with a pencil. So from approximately this point until, I'll say this point, so it does this kind of bottom of an octagon shape thing, and it continues over there. So then you fold it inwards along the line up until the top of the fin right here. You don't go any further because that will be part of the fold that you do exactly the same actually on the other side. So you make sure it's nice and symmetrical. You'll fold it inwards. Like so. Then you fold this guy inwards. And then to make sure that it doesn't like stick out, you can actually fold this flap from this edge till the crease here. I don't know if you can see it. Wait, I guess you can see it better until that crease. So it does a bisector angle, like so. Then you can flatten it down again. Now it's this shape on the back. So you have the top fin and the bottom fin. Now the bottom fin for the moment is just one fin. It has to be two fin that goes towards the sides. So that's going to be the next step. So you want to fold it from, or crease it from approximately a little bit after the end of the wing. So let's say right about till here. Let's mark it with a pencil again. Till here. And then until the beginning of the top fin. So right until here. I don't know if you can see it with the lighting. Right till here. Make sure that this guy doesn't fold outwards. This flap folds outwards because it's going to be quite a nuisance and you do not want that to happen. Now on the other side, it's simpler because you don't actually need to take the reference points. You just need to fold it so it's symmetrical with the other side. Now if you fold it downwards, it does the fins that go on the sides. Like so. Then you're going to want to flip the model over. So now we're going to work on the landing gear and the nose, and then obviously the air intakes, but that's the last step because it's probably one of the hardest, the modeling. So I don't know if you can see very well, but there's a little flap sticking out here. You're going to have to fold it in the opposite direction, so it does a paper lock, so that this flap here doesn't open up, so it stays closed. If you're using too small paper and you don't mind, you can try using glue. but as an origamist, I hold a grudge against using glue, so I'd rather not do that. So I just fold it there, right until the line, till the crease, so that it does a very good paper lock. Then I fold it the opposite direction and then crease it inwards again. Like so. Then you flatten it down, and then it should be right about here. It folds it. It holds it closed a little bit better. You don't have to do this step. This is purely just so that it holds closed if you accidentally drop it or something. Which, I don't know, I do all the time, but that's because I'm clumsy. So then, before we continue on the landing gear, we're just going to want to fold the end of the wings, because on F4, the wings actually stay straight, and then they go up on the ends, like so. So you're going to want to crease it from this point to this point approximately, so that when you fold it, actually this corner here ends up on top of the end of this edge when it joins up with this edge. An easy way to make sure this is done correctly is that all here, it's nice and flat, nothing goes under or above. Same thing on this side, so you make the reference point. And then you want to fold them upwards a little bit outwards as well, so that it does like this, the end of the wings. I don't even know if you can see that. Like so. Hold it from the back so you can see it. So it should be approximately that shape, you know, up, down, and then fuselage, and then up again on the other side. Now we're going to flip the model over and start on the landing gear. So for the front one, maybe the hardest, the back one is pretty easy, but let's start with the back one because there is the back ones, because there are a lot of complicated steps. Oui, j'arrive! So you want to fold it inwards so that this end is along this crease. As straight as possible, so it's not actually going to go against that layer. It's going to be approximately that much of an angle. Then you do the same thing on the other side. This may be hard, but you can try and take the reference point from the end that just sticks over, like so. So it's nice and same on both sides, if you like that. Now you're going to open them up a little bit. And this may be tricky because this is doing an open sink in a very concentrated area. So you make sure that the crease on this flap is done very well, so that then when you unfold it and you try to open this layer from that point here, like this, then you can close sink, like so. So then it just goes inwards, and then when you fold the landing gear back in, there's nothing bothering it. So you do the same thing on the side, so make sure that the crease is nice and clear. Don't know if you can see that. And then open it up and close sink. And you make sure that's nice and symmetrically folded. Like so. Then you're going to want to take this landing gear upwards so that it folds approximately till here, right where these flaps fold. So say like this, and fold it like so, so that it goes outwards like that, and then does this shape kind of. See what I mean? Make sure it's as straight as possible so that it goes downwards really, like so. Then you're going to want to open it up and fold it downwards so that try and make it so that the distance between this point and that point is the same between this point and that point. This point and that point, so it's the same height, and that then when you put it down, everything all the landing gear is the same height. So I think that should be a good spot. Make sure that everything's folded good, symmetrical, with no, so it's nice and flat like that. You see landing gear, like almost a T shape. Then you're going to want to fold the end here inward so that it goes all the way inside the landing gear until the back of it, like so. It's that shape. And then yeah, it's pretty much done for the front ones. The back ones, you want to fold just a tiny little bit inwards so that it's flat on the bottom, because otherwise it's very unstable when you put it down. Make sure it's as small as possible so it doesn't make a big difference. That way when you fold it down and then front one, put it down, it's nice and flat. Here it's not very flat because this isn't flat, but if I hold it down, it should be about flat. Then when you want to, you might want to crease it already so that when you pop the front landing gear in, it pops into place nicely. So you fold it there. So then you can pop it in and out easily. The back one, there is no real way to pop it in and out. You just have to reverse fold it so it goes under the flap. Let's do that now. So it's just flatter, for less cumbersome. For the rest of the folding. Now we're going to be working on the cockpit since we finished the landing gear. You want to fold it from approximately the point where this stops going upwards, so right about till here, until this point. So like this, and then you unfold and fold this edge along the crease that you just made, like so. Then you unfold and open up the bottom of the fuselage, like so, so that then when you fold the along the creases that you just made inwards, it gives this shape, kind of like the nose of the Concorde. Then you're going to want to fold the flaps on the side, both sides, like so. So it gives the nose this shape. Then you can open up the bottom and fold these things down so that this edge, I don't know if you can see it very well, this edge along that edge, like this. And then you swivel fold downward, the same fold downwards so that it goes into here. Don't know if you can see that, here until approximately where it was before. Swivel folding is when you, it's basically when you have a piece of paper like this. Wait, no, it's not a good example. You should know how to do a swivel fold if you came up until this stage. Same thing on this side, so you fold it downwards along the edge. Don't know if you can see that. And do a swivel fold. Wait, if I can try and explain the swivel fold. So you see how this was creased that way? Now, to swivel fold is to fold the paper that's under it downwards until a certain point, like so. So then when you flatten it, the cockpit is like that. It's all straight with kind of weird triangle there. Should be the same thing on this side. Now, you're going to want to pull the paper here. So it does like so. And then fold it right along the end here. That way. Like so. So it does this crease here. And then it flattens out this section. And only on the first layer. Not on all the others. And then the same thing on this side. This will actually allow us to have just enough paper to do the characteristically small air intakes of the F-4 Phantom, and then feed it as to where the engine should be. Make sure the paper lock doesn't undo during this step, or you can redo it at the end of the origami. So then you're going to, this might be useful for tweezers actually, for the shaping. So you then fold this upwards, like so, along a crease that goes approximately till there. Wait, shadow. So it goes like that, and then it actually folds outwards. And it gives this shape to the plane. Maybe actually before you do that, or when you're just at the very start, you actually fold this section outwards from here till right about here. Then when you fold it down, it should give this shape so that when you do the air intakes, they'll slope inwards towards the plane later on. And same thing on this side. So you open it up and then you fold from approximately this point till that point. This point is pure judgment fold. There is no actual reference point, so this is up to you. And you may want to practice all the judgment folds in this, because it does determine how good the plane is in the end. So there, then you can use the tweezers to emphasize the folds of the air intakes. So then in the end, you don't really have to emphasize them because they just morph into flatness and then into the canard wings. Same thing on this side, so if you have to, you can emphasize this point as well. And then crease. Sorry if you can't see very well. Then you can stop emphasizing it because it just morphs into nothing. And then it gives this kind of bomb shape here. If you want, you can take a flat piece of paper and then fold it over, and then stick it in between here, so that it kind of keeps it outstretched like that. That's what I did on this one, so it stays that shape. You don't have to do it though. And there you can make sure this is all symmetrical. With the landing gear and everything, you can pop it outwards. There's one last step for the landing gear. You may notice how thick the struts are here. So we're going to open up a little bit in the front here, and then fold this inwards, like so. Then you can do the same thing on the other side. This actually makes the struts a lot thinner, and that when you pop it inwards and outwards, there's less paper sticking out. That's quite nice. Like so. This actually turned out to be a lot longer than I expected it to. So then you make sure it's nice and folded well, so when you pop it in and out, it fits in well. Make sure to not press too hard on this section. I'll actually show you what kind of paper I stuck in there as an example. So I stuck in two rods like this, one on each side. I stuck them in through here. Made sure they went all the way until the end of the air intake, not any further, because any further than that will actually go into the cockpit, and that's not exactly desirable. So here's an example with it. And you can do the same thing on the other side. Let's actually pump the rear landing gear out. Like so. Then it should be right about this shape. And that is your F4 Phantom finished. If this section popped open again, you can just redo the paper lock. I'm gonna have to redo it actually. Like so. There, hope you like the model. This missile is the one that I prefer putting in here. It's actually, you can make it out of any sticky note. I recommend using rather small ones for this size. The original design was made by, of these guys, was made by Jason Merrill. I'll put the link for those in the description. And these are actually designed myself. Yeah. Goodbye.